The Ningbo Incident was a 1523 brawl between trade representatives of two daimyo clans, the Ouchi clan and the Hosokawa clan, in the Ming Chinese city of Ningbo. The Ouchi clan pillaged and harmed local residents, causing massive damage. The turmoil resulted in the interruption of the Ming-Japanese trade and led to a surge in piratical activity on the Chinese coast. The episode is also known by the names Ningbo Tribute Conflict, Ningbo Incident, or the Suzetsu Incident. Background: Ming China considered Japan a tributary state in its Sino-centric world order. Under the Ming tributary system, Japan could present tribute to the Chinese imperial court and be rewarded in the form of gifts by the emperor. This was essentially an exchange of Japanese products for Chinese goods, and being the only legal form of trade between China and Japan during the Ming's maritime prohibitions, was extremely profitable. The Japanese were assigned the city of Ningbo as their port of entry into China, and only those with tallies granted by the emperor were officially allowed to travel and trade within the boundaries of China. Hence, the Ming-Japan trade was called the tally trade. The handling of the tally trade on the Japanese side was the responsibility of the King of Japan, as the Chinese called the Ashikaga shogun. However, after the Onin War broke out in Japan in 1467, the Ashikaga shoguns were reduced to such powerlessness that control of the lucrative China trade became contested between the nominal Ashikaga vassals, the Hosokawa clan in Kyoto and the Ouchi clan of Yamaguchi. The tribute conflict. In May 1523, trade fleets from both the Hosokawa and the Ouchi clans arrived in Ningbo. The Ouchi delegation, led by Kendo Suzetsu, carried the most up-to-date tally from the Zhengde emperor and reached Ningbo before the Hosokawa delegation, led by Ranko Zuiza and Sosoket, who carried the outdated tallies of Zhengde's predecessor Hongji. Despite this, Sosoke was able to use his connections to bribe the head eunuch of the Office of Shipping Trade, Lien. So the Hosokawa party was received first and got preferential treatment. Enraged, the Ouchi party went up in arms, killed Ranko Zuiza, burned the Hosokawa ships, and chased Sosoke to the walls of Shaoxing. Failing to find Sosoke there, the armed band burned and plundered their way back to Ningbo. They kidnapped a garrison commander Yuan Jin and made off to sea on commandeered ships. A Ming flotilla gave chase under the command of Lu Jin, the regional commissioner against the Wo, but the Ouchi party defeated them in battle and killed the commander. Aftermath. One of Kendo Suzetsu's ships was blown to the coast of Joseon, Korea by storm during their escape. Joseon, Korea, being an ally of Ming China, killed 30 of the crew and captured 2 prisoners, Nakabayashi and Magataro, who were handed over to China. In China, Nakabayashi and Magataro were subjected to investigation along with Sosoket. Sosoke claimed that the Ouchi had stolen their tallies, leaving them no choice but to use the outdated tallies. However, the Ministry of Rights deemed Sosoke's words untrustworthy. In 1525, all 3 were sentenced to death, but they had all languished and died in prison before the sentence was carried out. A Ryukyu envoy was instructed to relay a message to Japan urging the rendition of Kendo Suzetsu and the return of Yuan Jin and other captive coastal inhabitants. Otherwise, China would close its ports to Japan and consider a punitive expedition. The Chinese investigation also uncovered the extent of the corruption involving foreign trade by Lien and his henchmen. For these reasons, the port of Ningbo was closed to foreign trade. But Lien retained his post until 1527 and actually had his powers expanded to deal with military emergencies. Although Japan continued to send tributary fleets to Ningbo, only 2 more were received in 1540 and 1549, after which the downfall of the Ouchi family ended the official Ming-Japan trade. The cessation of foreign trade at Ningbo turned local merchants wishing to trade with the Japanese and other foreigners to engage in illicit trading on the offshore islands. Some Chinese merchants and influential families began to owe the foreigners huge sums of debt as a result of this unregulated trade, which they would try to clear by informing the authorities to militarily clamp down on the illegal trade centers, to protect their goods and recover their losses. The participants of the foreign trade armed themselves against the Ming military and engaged in piratical and smuggling activities. This led to the widespread Jiajing Wokou raids that terrorized the coast of China in the 1550s.